The envelope is a container. It's the thing you place the message in before you send it. The envelope of a sound is its shape, or as Pierre Schaeffer called it, its profile. The traditional way to apply an envelope to a sound is to use a function generator to open a VCA, with a waveform output of a VCO patched to the VCA's input. This allows us to turn a droning tone into a discrete series of note events. See the video Starting from Zero Dynamics for a thorough exploration of this concept for beginners. Now, of course, a beauty of a synthesizer is that while there are traditions and standards, there's no obligation to stick to them. For example, we don't have to patch a droning tone to that VCA input. We could apply that same envelope to any kind of sound, including one that already has its own envelope or profile. For example, if we use instead of a VCO, the output of the Morphagene, we can apply envelopes to whatever sound we have in there. I've loaded up a Morphagene Reel by our friend Anthony Baldino, an amazing sound designer who filled this reel up with a pretty wide variety of textures and rhythms. Let's check out how we can apply envelope shapes to various different types of sounds on the splices within this reel. Well, first of all, let's hear what this envelope sounds like on a standard waveform. Here's the DPO final output. Patched to the input of the VCA on the X-Pan. I'll use the maths OR output to modulate its amplitude. The OR output always outputs the highest positive voltage between the 4 channels. So we set channels 2 and 3 south of midnight to make sure they don't hold it open with their offsets. If we turn it up, that will be holding it open. Channel 4 is being triggered by gate outputs from René on a simple repeating sequence. Now if I go ahead and turn on cycling on channel 1, we can hear this cyclical swelling being superimposed on the overall amplitude. I'm going to keep channel 1's output fairly low to keep it from dominating, while channel 4 is turned all the way up for maximum transient action. Okay, let's get a load of the sounds on Anthony's reel. Here, they are quite varied. Let's use the same functions for maths to control the amplitude of the Morphagene. We can hear that whenever there are transients within the sound, they're still audible. But they're also controlled in their own amplitude by the function that's patched to the VCA. So let's modulate some parameters on the Morphagene while we do this. Let's time stretch using the clock input. This will make it so that the sound we hear on our chosen splice slowly evolves through its genes as it's being enveloped. Let's shift through splices with another output from Tempe. Let's take another copy of that slower maths channel to modulate gene size. Note that I'm using the unity out rather than the variable out, because using the variable out would remove it from the OR output. And let's also modulate vary speed. So here we have the sound of the reel being enveloped based on these tempi and gate sequencing. Here's what it would sound like without the envelopes. You can still hear this sequence, but it sounds less distinct. Let's add some echoes to it as well. Since we're not using the other channels of the X-Pan, it'll be simple enough to use them to mix in the outputs of the verb. Pan channel 1 to the left and channel 2 to the right. We'll mult one of the Morphagene outputs to the input of the echophone and then to the verb. Going to keep their levels fairly low. Now, what if we use a different set of envelopes on the same reel? So I've created a few Rene and Tempe states here with different rates for the X sequence on Rene. The voltages controlling the vary speed, as well as the rates of the channels of Tempe that clock and shift the Morphagene. Let's check them out. State 2. State 3. State 4. I'm going to quickly mesh enable all 4 of these states and set Tempe's channel 6 to the same division on all of them. Divide by 12. Now let's use that channel to Zmod to step through them automatically. States 1 and 3 sequence more quickly than states 2 and 4, so it should have a nice speed up, slow down vibe. Thanks again to Anthony Baldino for this awesome Morphagene Reel. You can download it yourself at the link in the video description. Do you ever envelop your envelopes on complex sounds? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and happy patching.